All right, we're hearing some dark rumors in the crypto space surrounding Binance. We're going to break that down. Is that something we should be worried about? Currently, Bitcoin down 7% on the 24-hour, sitting at 70,799. Ethereum down 7%. XRP down 9%, currently under $1.50, sitting at $1.44. It's pretty ugly out there. But we did have some big news out of Ripple. We'll break that down. Now, the naysayers are saying this is actually a bad development. I disagree. Quite a bit going on. Let's jump into this. First and foremost, we got the big news from Ripple here. We see the following. Ripple Prime just integrated with Hyperliquid here, derivatives exchange. We see Wall Street can now access the largest derivatives exchange through institutional grade rails. It's bigger than that, though. Cross margin lets institutions use their existing assets as collateral for DeFi positions, capital efficiency unlocked. So they're sitting on a bunch of cash or other crypto assets within this system. They can just, without having to convert things and trade things, they can just use that as collateral and open up their DeFi positions here. XRP Ledger becoming the settlement rail. Remember, Ripple, everything they are doing has to eventually roll back to the XRP Ledger. When you look at Hidden Road, massive acquisition, right? Why were they able to buy Hidden Road if it's so big? Because their value is XRP. That's what makes them dominate. They can go out and buy all of these companies and build all of this infrastructure. XRP, they have to defend at all costs because at their core is where their value derives. And you best believe they are planning to take all of this transaction value and settle it on the XRP ledger. We see FXRP already bridging XRP liquidity onto Hyperliquid via Flare. The infrastructure is already live here. XRP is becoming more than just a payment rail. And I've been telling you this. It's much bigger than payments. We're not conceding payments. We're still going to dominate payments, but it's bigger. It's evolving into institutional settlement and collateral infrastructure for massive, massive markets. And that's what's key. This is a big deal. This is one of the big drivers of 2025. One of the high points of the market. You saw a lot of action in Hyperliquid, and it's just going to build that out even farther. And a lot of that liquidity, a lot of that flows is eventually going to come back to the XRP ledger. It's a big, big move here that we saw today. Now, Binance insolvency rumors. We're seeing it all over the place here. The crypto world is buzzing about a series of concerning developments about what has happened over the last 24 hours. We've seen in mass, a lot of them. Longtime Binance supporter here, BNB How, just closed his account, saying there's too many unexplained moves, too many coincidences, and too many stories circulating behind closed doors. Jacob King posted a DM supposedly from CZ. If you don't remove your posts regarding fake rumors of Binance insolvency, our lawyers will reach out. There's people that have supposed cease and desist letters roaming around, but we saw Binance support immediately calling it a fake, saying this letter is not from Binance. It's a forgery with a very active imagination here. Binance just put $100 million in Bitcoin in their safe as you know what fund. Now $200 million of a $1 billion target. We're seeing some things that the reserves are flowing out there, billions and billions of dollars. What are we to believe here? I don't trust Binance or anyone else. You best believe that. There's not sufficient regulations and oversight. And even in markets where you have that, you see things greater. You can't trust anyone. And on no exchange are your funds safe. Best believe that. Not Binance, not Coinbase, nothing. That's why you always spread out your risk and use a combination of platforms and cold storage and all this stuff. But I find it hard to believe that Binance would be busto. I just don't see it. I haven't seen any reason why. Now, of course, you have that 1010 crash, and a lot of people say Binance caused that, and I don't doubt it, but a lot of times they're liquidating people and taking their positions, and then the price recovers, and they make a lot of money. They're at the center, traditionally, of everything bad in crypto, but if anything, Binance probably has too much money, not too little here. I'm not saying it's impossible, not saying it can't happen. We will see as things develop. That was a vicious crash on 1010 that could have popped a lot of exchanges and put them out of business. But I just don't know here. I don't see the reason or the logic why Binance would go under unless they just got really, really silly and did some really stupid stuff. We will find out. It's obviously weird. We saw precious metals. We saw the stock market ripping to all-time highs, and crypto should have. You saw Mike Novogratz the other day saying, wow, Bitcoin and crypto, it's not acting like it should be. Not like we would expect it to be. I mean, something could be going on behind the scenes. I wouldn't say it's impossible. I just, if I had to guess, I don't think there's a whole lot here, but we will see as we go forward. Keep your eye on that here. Now, crypto firms, they are pivoting with this new community bank compromise. So what they're saying is like, hey, the banks are saying they don't want to pass this bill because they're worried about community banks. Fine, we'll agree to put money with the community banks. We will agree to help community banks launch their own stable coins. And still, banks, they're not going along with it because they don't care about community banks. Let's be honest, they care about themselves and losing deposits and losing revenue. Of course, we understand that. Something gets done here, though, because if it doesn't, they already have the stablecoin bill. And what they fear the most is law as of now. And so they're incentivized to deal. Also, crypto, they need that long-term security. They need this structure bill for the long term. So both sides have a reason here to come to the table. But make no mistake, this was never, and I mean never, about community banks. So it's interesting as we look to sentiment online right now. Bitcoin, extreme fear. Ethereum, extreme fear. XRP, we see a lot of optimism online here. Social metrics show XRP holders were volatility a little bit different here. Now, we get testy too. We don't like price drops. You'll see it in the comment. You'll see it online on X. But even with the 35% drop this month, the focus remains on long-term infrastructure rather than just short-term price action. It's probably more true for this asset class. You know, if you made it through that SEC lawsuit when everyone else was firing off, doing well, and we were really stuck in the doldrums in a lot of ways, you know, if you can make it through that, you can make it through anything. People truly believe in the long-term potential of this blockchain and this technology, and they're here for the long term. They believe any moment this thing could take off, and they're not going to get worn down, and we're seeing that in the on-chain metrics here. Now, I saw this from Pompliano, and this was on his podcast today. We have Jeff Park, CIO of ProCap Financial. Not necessarily what I think is going on for sure, but he's saying, look, we are in a serious bear market here. Not talking about, hey, we just sold down a little bit, but we're going to be in a prolonged bear market. He says, look, this time around, there's just no altcoin season, just didn't happen. And QE traditionally helps crypto. This time it's not going to. It's just going to continue. It's going to be bearish. It's going to be nasty, and we're in for a lot of pain. I present this because there's a lot of people out there that believe this is the truth. I ain't going to say they're wrong. It's just not the way I see this playing out. We'll see it evolve. I'll tell you this. If by summertime, if by the summer doldrums, this crypto market is not doing something significant, it's going to be a tough year. We'll see it play out, though. Breaking, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent is saying the U.S., they're not going to bail out Bitcoin. Yeah, they're pro-Bitcoin. They're coming out with a lot of stuff, but they're not going to step in here and fix things. During a tense House testimony, Bessent clarified the U.S. is not going to bail out Bitcoin with the strategic reserve. The Treasury has no authority to force banks, private banks, to buy Bitcoin. That ain't going to happen. They can't make it happen even if they wanted to. And they're not going to use taxpayer funds to prop up the market. He said point blank, I don't have the authority. And he doesn't. What won't happen can't happen. Scams, saying this. I haven't heard much about other companies that are supposed to be XRP Treasury companies. They all seem to disappear. The news that Vivo Power here. Vivo Power will not be an XRP Treasury company any longer as the news are pivoting to something else. Look, I'm not a big fan of Treasury companies anyway. If you've noticed, I've said on here, I don't own Vivo Power. I don't plan on buying wackadoo small companies. I don't even like the idea of owning Ripple more than I do the cryptocurrency XRP. Yeah, I best believe I ain't buying Vivo Power. You know, not a big deal. These treasury companies, if done right, could be great, but they don't. They never do. They always use too much debt, too much leverage, and, you know, it just isn't the way. Unless they're doing something significant to run a real business and add more, you know, crypto to their balance sheet through something other than borrowing money or issuing shares, it don't make sense. Just buy the crypto itself. It was exciting for a while. All the plans Vivo Power had, of course, to use FXRP and all sorts of different metrics. Great. But it doesn't look like it has worked out. I'll keep looking into this, see if there's more to the story, but it seems like they have pivoted away. Lastly, we see James Rule saying here, Saylor might need to sell some Bitcoin. You know, it's looking nasty out there. I personally believe that he makes it through this cycle, but eventually he'll run in a buzzsaw, but maybe not. Maybe Saylor is the final boss and he needs to go under before this thing can really take off. Maybe your big players want his Bitcoin. I don't know. We will see it play out, but I can tell you this with certainty. that you cannot just borrow money to infinity and keep buying a volatile asset. It will not work. This guy will eventually go under. I just don't think, and I hope not, that it's not this cycle, because man, would that blow a big hole in everything we are trying to do. Lastly, make sure you sign up for the Zao DAO. Link down below. $10 lifetime membership. Use your Salmon wallet, your Bifrost wallet. Take part in the future of this blockchain. That's how we, the investor and users of this blockchain, we get to participate, have a voice, and share in the profits of the Zao DAO long term. Really, really important project for this blockchain. Use a link down below and in the pinned comment to go to the DApp page, connect with your Bifrost, your Salmon, and take participation in this blockchain's future. Let me know what you think down below. As always, please like, please subscribe. The revolution will be televised right here on Jungle Link.